Hi everyone, welcome back to the Brush by Brandy YouTube channel. This week we're actually working on this piece that's behind me, and it doesn't look like a whole lot now, but I love the direction that it's going in. This piece I actually picked up for free because when my son likes to make a little extra money, I try to look for pieces that I can find for inexpensive that he can redo and make a little bit of profit on them. And so I picked up this one, and then he ended up not doing it, not having the time, just being too busy with sports. And so I'm like, I need to get that one out of there. I'm going to give it a makeover. And I just saw one look when I looked at this one. It's a very clean, modern piece of furniture, actually in really good condition. And then when I started stripping the top back, I saw how beautiful the wood was, and I wanted to expand on the exposure of that wood. So we're going to expose some of this beautiful wood with a natural wood finish. I'm going to use a clean black finish on this one. We're going to use Wisal 1 hour enamel. We're going to do some spraying on this one, some original hardware. Lots of wood details, lots of wood details. So overall, I think this free piece of furniture turns out absolutely gorgeous. And I hope you guys think that I did honor to the original integrity of the piece as well. So stick around, let's get started. Here's where I started on this piece of furniture. It doesn't look like a whole lot. I actually got this one off my local Facebook marketplace, and it was listed as a freebie. So with the truck and able to do a fast pickup, I was actually able to snatch this one. It has great original hardware, so I think I'm going to reuse that. And I started by stripping this wood top down to see what was underneath. I ended up uncovering some of the prettiest wood I've seen in a long time. I'm using Green Ease stripper on this one, and I love this product because it's an eco-friendly stripper that's soybean oil based that doesn't burn my hands if I get it on my skin. It doesn't have that strong chemical odor that a lot of chemical strippers can have, and for an eco-friendly stripper, it's actually surprisingly effective. I let this sit on for about 30 minutes, no plastic on it, and I was able to come back and scrape that existing finish off. Now let's remove that original hardware. It's got a chrome plating on it, but it's in really good condition. All of these handles are perfect. I'm going to save these, just give them a light cleaning. I don't want to clean them in any chemicals or anything like vinegar that might remove that existing plating. So I'm just going to give them a light cleaning, and we're going to reuse these. I'm also going to strip the top drawers on this dresser because I'm going to let that wood finish carry down a little bit onto the body of this piece. So I'm using my Surf Prep 3x4 electric ray. I'm starting with an 80 grit paper, and this is going to burn through that existing finish without damaging my wood. And then I'll step up my grit slowly from an 80 to a 120 to a 220 until I get a nice soft buttery finish. But right now I'm just trying to remove that old existing clear coat and stain from the wood. Because I want this wood finish to carry down onto the body of my piece, I also need to strip down onto this first drawer section. This first sanding with my 80 grit is mostly to take that existing finish off, but I am going to come back and clean this up. So if you see any spots here that still have some finish on them, I'm not quite done yet. This sanding is quite a process. I always say that stripping, when you strip with a chemical stripper, is not only just stripping with the chemical stripper. It's in addition to sanding as well. So there was a lot of sanding on this piece. My Surf Prep 3x4 electric ray is one of my most used tools in my workshop, and I love this model because it's very versatile. It can be gentle when I just want to scuff sand or distress, but it can also be muscle when I want to strip like this piece here. The Surf Prep has amazing vacuum capability, so I have this hooked up to the Surf Prep vacuum. I used to use it with just a regular shop vac, and that definitely worked great too. And I have near no dust in my workspace because of this system. Once I fine sand this wood down with that 220 grit paper, you can see how buttery smooth it is and that really pretty grain. I'm also going to carry my wood stain finishes down onto the side of this piece, which means that I need to sand roughly to about the line that I think I'm going to be painting to. I actually went a little bit further than I thought that I would need, and then I'm going to go ahead and tape off a line on this to wrap around to the front. And this is just going to give me an idea where on the front of my piece my wood stain finishes stop and my painted finishes are going to begin. It's just more of a guide for me at this point. I'm not too worried about the exact placement or where it is. I just want to make sure I get that line as far down as I need it to go. Whew, a lot of sanding over the top of this piece, and I'm not quite done yet. I added a foam backing to my paper, and I'm going to give this a light scuff sanding over the body of this piece. This is an extra step, but I try to do this whenever possible because it's going to help my finishes over the top have something to bite onto, just so I have better adhesion. I gave the piece a really good cleaning, and now it's time to start laying my new finishes on. I'm starting out by spraying Wiseout primer in light gray, and I love this primer. It lays super smooth. It's a stain blocking and a gripping primer in one, so it's going to take care of everything I need over the top of this vintage dresser. For the dark color that I have planned, the dark gray primer would probably be recommended, but this light gray ended up working great because I'm spraying the finishes. I didn't have any problems with it. I also need to carry this primer around the side and spray below that line that I plan on painting. I didn't worry about taping off my wood sections because I do need to do a final light sanding, and so if I accidentally get any overspray on this, it'll be easy to remove. After 2 coats of primer, I let them fully dry for 24 hours, and now it's time to start laying my paint on. I chose jet black from the Wiseout 1 Hour enamel line for this piece because I wanted to keep it clean and classic and modern. The jet black is super rich and super dark. It's a very saturated black, and I think it's perfect for this piece. I also wanted a color that existing chrome hardware would really stand out against, and I think this black is going to be perfect. I ended up spraying 2 coats of the black over the entire body, but I also wanted to show you for this final coat on this side how you can brush on the 1 Hour enamel and get a beautifully smooth finish with brushing also. So for this side, I added my blue painter's tape and then a little bit of clear coat over the edge of the painter's tape. This is going to keep any of my paint from bleeding up onto the wood section because I want to keep that line nice and crisp and clean. Then I added a light mist of water over my surface. 1 Hour enamel does allow dilution up to 10%, and I try to keep my inclusion of water very minimal, but a light mist on the surface just lets my brush glide over the top of the surface without any drag. I'm using one of the Wiseout premium brushes for this, and I really like these brushes for when I want to lay on a nice, smooth, even, thin coat. They work perfectly for this purpose. And then I'm just going to brush on my 1 Hour enamel in long, even linear strokes from the top to the bottom without stopping in between. This is going to keep me from having as many brush strokes as I can possibly get rid of. The 1 Hour enamel dries to a satin finish with no need to top coat, but I do need to top coat the portions that just have this exposed wood. So I'm using Wiseout matte varnish, and I'm going to apply this using one of my Klingon brushes. To apply the clear coat over this wood, I start in the center of my piece, and then I'm going to pull from the center to these outer edges, and then I will clean up my brush strokes by brushing them the entire length of the piece so that I don't have any stopping and starting points in the center. You want to apply your clear coat in thin, even coats, and I'll do multiple coats over the top of this piece. I ended up doing 3 coats on all of the wood sections of this piece. I didn't add any stain to this wood. I want to try to keep the coloring as natural as possible, and the matte varnish is going to do just that. Sealed wood will always change color slightly when you seal it. It brings out some of those amber tones in the wood, and I want to keep those to a minimum. While I'm applying this clear coat, you notice I'm moving my body a lot. I'm walking from one end of the piece to the next. So it involves me doing a lot of body work so that I can get this clear coat applied all the way across my piece with minimal brush strokes. Wood finishes are actually one of the easiest to brush a clear coat on because any brush strokes that you do get end up blending in with the grain of the wood. So you always want to brush in the direction of your grain. Once I have my clear coat all applied across this top, I'm going to do the drawer fronts and the sides that have wood stain portions as well. With the clear coat on my wood stain sections and no need to top coat any portions that have the black on it, I reapplied my original hardware and this piece is done. What do you guys think? I staged this piece with some black and white art and some natural wood details to pull in the finishes that I used on the body. This piece sold rapid fast because the finishes are very current and up to date and neutral for any decor. If you guys enjoyed this video, you can find links for everything I use in the description for this post. You can find more Brush by Brandy on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, and on my website at brushbybrandy.com. And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll click that subscribe button for weekly tutorials here at Brush by Brandy on YouTube.